Welcome back to the show of your dreams.
Hello and welcome back to the show of your dreams, The Island Shuffle.
The Island Shuffle, brought to directly to your dreams.
How you sleeping tonight, everybody?
Hope you're sleeping well, and hope your dreams aren't too intrusive or troubling.
I'm your host, James.
And I'm your other host, Bean. And together, we're here in your dreams to talk about the show Lost.
And might I say, I need to say, I know it's not what we came here for, but honestly, you have a sick mind. I've seen some of your other dreams. I don't like the positions, the situations that you're putting all those characters in.
Can I say...
Death and drugs and rock and roll.
This is interesting to me because I see the same dreams, and I love to see it. To me, I say, well, this is cool.
This is fun.
This is deeply challenging material,
You
and it
and
makes
your
me think.
Grand Theft Auto dreams.
Yeah. It reminds me of my favorite video game.
Yeah. Grand Theft Auto?
Yeah.
Mario Kart.
The game bold enough to ask, what if you had a gun and a car? What then? Asks Grand Theft Auto.
Bold enough to ask. Who made it?
Rockstar.
But who did you?
Did I make it? No.
Whose name did you just say?
Grand Theft Auto?
Oh my God! I thought you said like Grant Madonna. I was like, do you know the human being responsible for this franchise?
Yeah, Grand Theft Auto's famous showrunner, Grand Madonna.
Grant Madonna. Welcome to the show where we talk about Lost and nothing else.
Lost and nothing else. We talk about it exclusively, and we definitely never talk about the oeuvre of Rockstar, and of course, their famous CEO who loves to overwork people, Grant Madonna.
Grant Madonna.
I can't quite land on that
Working
last name.
90-hour weeks.
Madonna, Mantano,
Madonna, I would say, like
Madonna.
Mike Madonna,
like Mike Madonna,
legendary '90s hockey player.
Of hockey.
He was in a Mighty Ducks movie briefly. I believe Mighty Ducks 2, where they go to the Pee Wee Olympics.
Was he a Mighty Duck or was he an opponent?
He was a...
I guess it was all teams.
He
so
was
it would
a
be
player
weird.
for the Dallas Stars, actually. And
Okay.
the kids were really impressed that he knew Gordon Bombay. I know these movies very well. Actually, I don't know number 3, though.
I would love to watch all of them. I think I watched the first one, like, a while ago, like, recently enough to be like, oh, yeah, remember how he has a DUI? Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I watched the first one, like, 2 or 3 years ago. It was, the thing that surprised me was how, like, all the intense scenes in the stadium and stuff, there was no one in the crowds, essentially. Which is realistic and cool, but it is just, like, 6 moms in the crowds and a little brother.
That's great because then the stakes are personal.
Yeah,
the stakes
exactly.
are not fate of the world. It's for the kids exclusively.
And I remember, I think when I was a kid, I was not irked by child actors.
Sure.
But then watching it, it's like, I didn't like the movie as much as an adult, I gotta be honest.
Understandable.
Yeah. But I liked whenever they quack at Mr. Ducksworth.
Before we move on to Lost, the only topic of the show, I just want to ask you who your favorite child actor was, if you had one.
My favorite child actor.
Of these movies, I should say.
Of
the Mighty Ducks franchise.
Of the Mighty Ducks movies. Goldberg.
Great.
Goldberg, the goalie, who actually I found out a while ago has had... we were talking earlier about Haley Joel Osment off screen and how he was not destroyed by child acting. Goldberg was, unfortunately.
No.
Yeah.
Were all of the Ducks destroyed by child acting?
I don't know. At least my favorite one was.
No.
Yeah, so they may as well all have been.
Yeah, rotten apple spoils the bunch, you know.
Well, yeah, exactly. Goldberg took them down with him. No, there's this awful TMZ article about him like getting arrested on a like drug arrest, and there's a photo of him, and he's like skinny and sad, and clearly has not had a good life.
That's troubling.
Yeah.
Oh well.
And that's Goldberg. I'm watching, and it's like, I love this guy in the Mighty Ducks movies. It sucks.
Yeah, it's tough. What? I've got great news. At least Haley Joel Osment made it out okay.
That's true. He's doing okay.
He's doing all right.
And our friend Walt.
Walt. Yes.
Walt, from the show Lost.
Yes. Malcolm David
I don't
Kelly.
know what his life's like, but I don't know that he is ruined.
That's true. He might not be ruined, but he's also the only, major child actor of the show. And there's no way of knowing how he's doing.
No. Well, we didn't Google it or anything.
That's true.
We're not experts on the subject. I do know, though, Vincent the dog is dead.
Vincent the dog I want to say Vincent the dog might have died mid-production.
Oh, really?
and
Did they
gotten
have to replace him?
I might be getting that wrong. I'm
was
not going to
his name
confirm
really
that.
Vincent? They never really bill him in the credits.
I don't think his name was Vincent. I do think he does. I would be stunned if he didn't have a name. The nameless dog. We decided not to name this one. We're just
Yeah.
going to figure it out.
Well, Lost literally did that with one of its central characters.
That's why they did
so-
it, because they didn't name the dog, and they were like,
Yeah.
wouldn't it be funny if we did that for a character?
Oh my god. Okay, so the show Lost. We watched season 3, episode 10,
Yes.
which is called Tricia Tanaka is Dead.
This episode immediately precedes an episode we watched a couple weeks ago, Enter 77. That one's season 3, episode 11.
Yeah.
This is episode 10.
Mm-hmm.
The episodes are effectively unrelated.
Yeah,
Although
entirely.
there is a small thread, but
we probably get 2 minutes of
mhm.
yeah.
But other than that, this is a Hurley episode. It's all about Hurley. Where do you want to start? On the island or away from the island? 'Cause
Let's start off the island.
Alrighty.
It's fun. I like Hurley's crazy lotto backstory.
So Hurley's backstory is that he won the lottery, but the lottery is a curse. Oh no.
Because
And-
he won it using the bad numbers.
Yes, he won it using the famous bad numbers of 4.
Where did he get the numbers from? Sorry to interrupt. The numbers,
you and
but
I
you can't say them also because I don't want to get cursed.
No, of course. As soon as you say them, you're cursed, which is why this show also failed, because it said so many numbers
it
all
said
the
it
time.
so many times, yeah.
And it said, all right, season 6, go by.
Guess we fucking suck now.
So you and I haven't seen how he gets the numbers. But he hears them from a friend in the Santa Rosa health clinic, the mental health clinic that
Oh.
he keeps going to.
Okay. I didn't
there's a-
realize that he goes to a mental health clinic before
I don't
all
think
of this stuff goes down.
we haven't seen that at all.
Yeah.
We've only seen him in the mental health clinic after the
Yeah.
post island, right?
I thought his life before that was just hanging out with his buddy in the chicken joint.
Hurley's led a complex and rich life, as
Yeah.
this episode clearly describes. So this is so the first scene we get of the show, the whole episode, is a young little baby Hurley.
Oh, yeah.
He's a little guy. He's working
This is way before he won the lottery.
way before he won the lottery. He's a little guy. He's a little kid, and he was working on a car. And his dad comes up and says, "Wow, great job. How are you doing?" And they try to start the car, and Hurley can't start the car, and he's like, "It won't go. This sucks."
We need new carburetor, Dad.
And his dad's like, "Well, listen, don't be so down. You gotta have hope. You gotta have a positive attitude, and good things will happen." Anyways, I'm going to Vegas for 13 years. See ya. 17 years.
But he gives them a chocolate bar.
Yes.
And we are made to assume that that is why Hurley gets obese.
Because his father abandoned him on a
Yeah.
motorcycle and then gave him a chocolate
Gave
bar.
him a chocolate bar. And Dad just rides away on a motorcycle.
Yeah, there's no
To
context.
Vegas.
There's no context given for this at all.
No.
There's no there's no oh, me and your mom split up, or we get one shot of Hurley's mom looking out the window sad. There's no I have to do a job or anything. It's literally I have to go to Vegas.
I gotta go to Vegas. I got $20 in my pocket. It's burned a hole in my pocket.
I'm just wondering what it's like.
Yeah.
I've heard so much about Caesar's Palace. I must see it for myself.
Son, we can't smoke indoors in LA anymore, so I'm going to Vegas. You can still smoke indoors in Vegas.
That's bizarre.
Yeah. Isn't that cool?
Keep
Keep it all in. I think you should only be able to smoke indoors.
That's an
Because
interesting take.
That's we can isolate that air. So then no more secondhand smoke if it's all inside.
I think that's an interesting idea.
And
I think Nevada's one step ahead of the game.
yeah, they got it in both, inside and outside.
They got
It's
them all
insane.
over the place.
But here we're keeping it all outside, and it's I go outside every frickin' day.
I go outside all the time. And you know who else goes outside? Children. But children don't enter my home.
Exactly. So smoke in my home.
Yeah.
My home is the new smoking.
Everybody in Montreal has to come to your house if they want to smoke.
Dedicated smoking location. That would be a nightmare.
It would not be good. You've unearthed why this hasn't been legislated.
It makes perfect sense, actually. I understand completely.
What we should do is bring back smoking sections in restaurants.
Yeah, totally.
And have it partitioned by nothing.
But it'd be where they put people like us, just all the smoking hot patrons of the restaurant. The smoking sections. And
damn,
there's a man who wears the mask from Jim Carrey's The Mask.
Oh boy.
And he delivers the line every time he sees someone. He goes, "Smoking."
He's the arbiter of who goes in what section.
Yeah. He just looks at you and he says smoking. And he will actually take people out of groups that they're in to put them in this section.
Disrupting nights.
Yeah.
Oh,
but here's the catch. The restaurant is an Arby's.
I don't know. I don't know what that adds or detracts from the situation. It already sounds so bad.
Yeah, it's all the most attractive Arby's patrons are
Patients of Arby's.
Yes, Dr. Arby. Okay.
Okay.
So
right.
Dad leaves.
So Dad leaves. As with all characters on the show, Hurley too does not have a good dad.
Yeah. Who does?
I've got an alright dad, I think.
Yeah, I have a good dad.
But I'm also not on the show Lost.
But what character has a good dad? Does anyone? I don't think anyone
literally
does,
think nobody has a good dad.
That's crazy. It's like Hurley might have the best dad. Well, no, Kate has a good dad, but she has an awful stepdad.
Awful stepdad, but good army dad, except that the army dad predicted murder and didn't do anything about it.
Well, he doesn't have murder in his heart.
No.
Is all.
No, that's exactly
And the only
it.
way you can stop a murder is with another murder.
That's true, and he just didn't have it.
If only his heart had been manufactured differently.
Well, then what's he going doing manufacturing this murderous heart?
I don't know.
Or was it the
Maybe
stepdad
I guess the
manufactured?
mother probably had a little murder in her heart.
I guess.
And
Where'd you
then-
get?
Well, they say murder is a recessive gene as
That-
well. It's like
Mhm.
baldness.
Yeah, so
Some
it's,
kids are born bald.
yeah, and it skips a generation sometimes.
Exactly,
so
yeah.
Probably it might have been dad's dad.
Yeah. Yeah. Kate's grandfather was murdering up a spree.
Oh my god.
He murdered for years. He would just he was a butcher, actually.
So he did a lot of murdering of animals?
A human butcher.
Oh,
Yeah.
great.
Yeah. It was a big business back then. It was the
Different
Depression.
times.
Yeah.
Different times, the 60s.
Yeah. Truly.
This isn't a Kate episode. What are we talking about?
So Hurley's dad has left. We've gotten through one scene in the show so far.
A single scene.
Where all that happens is Hurley's dad leaves.
Hurley's dad
And then
leaves.
the next thing we know
Mhm.
Hurley is standing outside of a goddamn chicken restaurant
Mhm.
being interviewed by Tricia Tanaka,
The
of
tit-
all people.
The titular Tricia Tanaka,
Uh-huh.
the one who is dead.
The
but
one who... She's alive there.
Here she stands alive and well. This episode must be playing tricks on me.
No, Tricia Tanaka and a cameraman.
Mm-hmm.
So Tricia Tanaka is a
Yes.
news reporter.
Yes.
They're standing in front of a chicken restaurant
Mm-hmm.
with Hurley and Hurley's old boss. And she says, oh, today we have a very interesting story about this man who won the lottery. And what did you do? Oh, you bought a chicken restaurant.
And it's the chicken restaurant you used to work at? Well, isn't that what you must be every working stiff's dream?
And Hurley's like, oh, I don't know, I guess. I don't know. Then she goes,
Great
your
Hurley,
luck
by the
sure
way.
has turned around. And he goes, actually, I have really bad luck. My best friend left me. My grandfather died. My mom's house burnt down. And then Tricia Tanaka's like, shut up!
Just like that.
Yeah.
Shut your face.
She makes the camera stop and she says, Hurley, you're stupid.
Really, you're doing a bad job at this very easy interview.
Yeah, I'm
It's-
Tricia goddamn Tanaka, and I will not have my name sullied by the likes of you, Hugo Reyes.
And Hugo says, okay. And Tricia Tanaka says, all right, we're going inside to film some B-roll. And Hurley, ever the paranoid one, is like running through it in his head. The
Mhm.
fryers are safe. There's nothing on. Their wall's not going to cave in. Nothing's going to happen.
But he doesn't want to let them in.
Doesn't want to let them in, but they insist.
They just go in.
They just go in to film some stuff. And suddenly they hear something.
From the sky.
From the sky. And what comes from the sky?
A literal meteor crashes into the restaurant.
Not a bit, not a joke. That's how the scene goes. A meteor comes from the
happens.
sky and blows the restaurant up while Tricia Tanaka and her cameraman are looking around and going, well, we can film this countertop.
And, so much is made of Tricia Tanaka's death.
Not really.
And a little bit,
A
at
little
least.
bit. A minor
The
amount.
cameraman's death is not even mentioned once.
Hurley does mention it in the next scene. The next
Does
scene
he?
is the next scene is Hurley coming home covered in meteor dust, I guess.
Uh-huh.
And being like, well, now here's how I know the curse is real, because they got struck by a meteor. How could that happen? And Tricia Tanaka is dead, and her cameraman too.
Okay,
And oh my
yeah.
gosh, Mom, I got to go to Australia to track down the source of these numbers, because they're the ones that cursed me.
And then the mom is like, oh, Hugo, speaking of tracking down,
Whoa.
look over here.
And who could it be but Hurley's dad?
Daddy-o, Braddy-o, Hurley's dad, Brad.
I want to mention that Hurley's dad is played by Cheech Marin, which is excellent casting.
Uh-huh. He's
I
a lot
also,
older than he was in the Cheech and Chong movies.
no, I think that's just him getting old.
Let's weed, too.
So the other thing I want to mention about Hurley that we've never really mentioned before is that Hurley has like Hispanic parents or
Yeah.
like Spanish parents, I guess.
Yeah.
And so I tried and I realized I never really thought of Hurley as like a person of color on the show, right?
Yeah.
Kind of but I tried looking it up, and I don't think the show ever specifies his exact ethnicity.
Yeah, I think you're maybe made to assume that his parents are Mexican or something.
Yeah. Or
And his name is Hugo Reyes.
yeah.
But, yeah, I don't think it ever...
It's just
Not with the old Saeed Iraqi thing like
yeah.
they did, too.
it's just one of many approaches that the show takes to not being white, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's to the point that we've never even mentioned that Hurley is, Hispanic until now, I guess.
Yeah,
Because he's not really except for when his parents show up, he's not really coded as such.
yeah. He's just a Los Angelesite.
I guess so, yeah. And Los Angeles is a cultural melting pot.
It is a goddamn melting pot. You want to talk about Walt Whitman?
Do I?
You can't say the word melting pot without begging to talk about Walt
That's
Whitman.
true.
Have you ever read
No.
Leaves of Grass or his he was all about the melting pot.
Oh, he
He
loves.
saw America as the cultural melting pot.
Oh, is that him?
yeah,
That's
and he was
him.
seen as the bard for America, and then
Oh.
not too long later everyone's like, oh, fuck immigrants.
Great.
Yeah.
Good.
Cool. Way to
Interesting.
turn that one around.
Great job, America.
Yeah.
You did it.
Yeah, you're mean again.
You're mean again. You did
You
it.
had one sort of nice poet man.
Well,
That's it.
the one good American.
One sort of nice poet man. And I don't even know much about Walt Whitman. Maybe that was all a front
It could have been.
to appease
No-
international interests.
Nobody can know of my secret hatreds.
Ah.
I guess I'll write all these nice poems that everyone likes. That'll
Yeah.
show 'em.
I think part of the thing with Walt Whitman though too, and the melting pot thing is I think there is an element of bringing in from all over to, I guess, but sort of distilling it into something particular. So I think people can interpret that from a sense of you must assimilate entirely too.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't know. I don't melt many things in pots. I gotta be honest.
That's valid. You should. I'm trying to think of the last dish that I made that involved completely melting something.
And any melting we do though in this day and age, oftentimes it would be butter in the microwave.
Butter in the microwave. I'll melt some butter right on the pan sometimes.
Yeah.
But what I put upon that pan next, if that melts, then I've really gone.
Yeah.
I've gone awry.
Oh my god, I have melted my eggs.
I've melted my whole pork
You
chop.
actually want to harden up your eggs.
Yes.
They begin as a melted.
They come pre-melted.
They come pre-melted. Ah.
Well.
So then what happens? What?
So there's a lot to unpack here. I want to start with. I just want to emphasize that the meteor thing gets so glossed over as soon as Hugo's dad comes
just a
up.
meteor.
Yeah, like it. At first, it's like another thing of bad luck. Oh my gosh! And then as soon as Hurley's dad shows up, it's fine.
Yeah,
it's not fine, but it's just never mentioned again. Everybody's
no
always
one's like the meteor. What?
Everybody's like, oh Hugo, you're clearly losing it because of the money and the stress. And Hurley could at any point be like, a literal meteor came from the sky.
Yeah.
But no, it just never comes up again.
And I mean, people are so upset about Tricia Tanaka. No one's talking about the loss of all that chicken that could have been devoured.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, they were set to open the next day, so there were stocks and stocks of delicious chicken.
I'm thinking about the damage to the Mr. Cluck's franchise at this will do,
yeah, as a whole.
Of which Hurley is a stakeholder.
Totally.
Presumably.
Yeah, I wonder if that would hurt their revenues, or if it would sort of create this frenzy, because with supply and demand, supply just dropped. They dropped one store.
Here's what
demand remained the same. Apparently demand is through the roof, if even rocks in space have heard about this franchise.
Yes, I'm wondering who really sent this meteor flying. I'm thinking this might have been an inside job.
This could have been the chicken himself.
It could have been. It's all an elaborate plot.
Yeah. It's a ploy to kill Hurley.
But he missed him by that much.
Yeah. He got Tricia Tanaka instead. It's a damn shame.
It is a damn shame.
You know what I like about this episode?
What's
and
that?
the name? It's clear that they just liked the name Tricia Tanaka and thought it was fun to say.
Yeah.
And that's why it's like in the title.
Yes. Tricia Tanaka is dead.
Yeah.
And Hurley does say explicitly Tricia Tanaka is dead a couple times when he first gets home.
Tricia Tanaka is dead.
And it is like, oh, you hear that and you're like, oh, who's Tricia Tanaka and how does she die? And then she dies with a meteor and you're like, holy shit, this is going to be a focal point of the episode, and it's not.
It's not.
So Hurley's dad is here, and they're having dinner together. Hurley's mom is like, look at this lovely rose gold Jesus that Hurley made for us with his lottery winnings. It's great. Anyways, I called your dad because he needs to. I thought it would be good to have like a manly figure, a father figure that you've been missing in your life. And Hurley, understandably, is like, he's been gone for 17 years.
Too late, Ma.
We're just gonna act like that didn't happen.
Yeah.
We're not gonna provide any closure on that, any explanation.
And he comes back the second I win the lottery.
And you're not even a little bit suspicious. And he's right.
But the mom has her own reasons.
Oh, she's got her own motivations.
She says in response, she covers up Jesus's ears, and she says, I have needs, Hurley.
And Hurley goes, oh, gross. No, my mom is horny.
Yeah, Hurley's mom is horny.
Hurley's mom is horny.
The dad has been gone for 17 years on that job in Vegas.
On that one, just sitting in the parking lot of Caesar's Palace, looking at it and going, "Wow, this is everything I thought it'd be.
Fucking awesome!
This beats the hell out of my shitty kid."
Wonder when I'll go back.
Give it another 16 years, I think.
It's been a year already. And then that's funny though. It's funny.
Yeah, it's like a funny joke. It's funny that old people would have sex.
Yeah.
It's funny that
it's uncomfortable.
It's funny that she cares about Jesus enough to cover Jesus' ears to have sex.
You know what? As much as I think the I have needs joke is not that funny,
No,
but the covering Jesus' ears bit is legitimately funny, I think.
it's not bad. It's executed pretty well.
Yeah.
I'll give him
'Cause
that
she
one.
pinches his little head.
He does pinch Jesus' tiny little head. That's pretty good. That's not bad.
You gotta pinch that tiny little head.
Are we
Maybe
talking?
that is.
Are we talking about Jesus still, or are
Yeah.
we talking about old people having sex?
Oh my God.
Oh,
Lord,
brother.
forgive me.
Not anymore. we're this episode that sends us straight to hell. This is the one. This is the one that damns us.
And then what happens next? It's like a different scene, different day, right?
Hurley wakes up,
Yeah.
and Hurley's dad. By the way, Hurley's dad I don't think gets a name in this episode.
No, he doesn't get a name.
Hurley's dad wakes Hurley up, and Hurley has a sleep mask on and headphones.
Uh-huh.
And he's like, "Why do you have the headphones?" And Hurley says, "Because you guys were loud." And Hurley's dad says, "Well, your mom's a very passionate woman.
Ha ha ha.
And
Better pinch Jesus' ears for that one too.
Better have a funny, horny parents joke."
My God.
Oh, I
It's
love
good. Good
it's-
humor.
It's good, funny stuff, you know. It's really mostly not other than the pinching Jesus' head thing.
Yeah.
But like,
No, it's not.
oh, God.
Oh well.
Anyways, Hurley says, listen. Sorry, Hurley's dad says, listen. I know you're all worked up about this curse, but come with me. We're going to break the curse, you and I. And if this doesn't work, you can go to Australia, and I won't stop you. No questions asked. And Hurley's like, all right, fine. So they go to a psychic.
Yeah.
And it's a psychic who says, he's like, oh, you've come up with great money. And Hurley's like, you saw that on the news. But the money's brought you great misfortune, death, pain, sorrow. Oh, there's clearly an evil aura around you. We must perform an exorcism. And like the music's getting very dramatic.
Uh-huh.
It's getting very like, oh no, this
And
is
she
real.
gets like a bucket
Yes.
and she puts spices in it. She cracks an egg.
Yeah, she's like,
I guess an exorcism is just a big omelet.
yeah, it's a big. An exorcism is really like the melting pot of American
It's
society.
a melting pot. Yeah, we gotta get Walt. Get us Walt. There is a Walt in this show too, so that was confusing.
He steps in the pot and says, "Hi, Hurley."
Where's Vincent? And then Hurley sees through it though.
Hurley sees through it. Hurley immediately goes, "Wait a second. Did my dad put you up to this? I'll give you 1,000." This is a pretty good bit, actually.
Yeah, this is good.
The Hurley is a funny, doesn't always work for me, but this bit got me. Hurley says, "I'll give you $1,000 right now if you admit that my dad put you up to this." And the lady's like, These arts are sacred and not sworn to bribery. Don't try to sully this with your money and with your cursed money." And then Hurley says, "All right, 10,000." And immediately the lady's like, "Yeah, your dad put me up to this."
Yeah, it's funny.
It's all right.
And good job on the lady. She got an extra $9,000.
Yeah, pretty
That's
good.
how you negotiate. She should have been like, whenever he said 10,000,
Mhm.
she should have said, for 59 more thousand, I'll tell you the truth.
I'll tell you everything.
Everything.
Every single thing.
Your dad didn't go to Vegas. He went to Fallsview Casino in Windsor. Or is it Windsor or is it Niagara Falls? It's definitely Niagara Falls. It's called Fallsview.
It is called Falls View.
Yeah.
You know Windsor's famous view of the falls?
Yeah, I don't know.
Oh, love a good. Is Windsor's in Ontario too, right?
Yeah, Windsor is on Ontario. It's right across the river from Detroit.
Oh.
So they had a great view of the fall of an American city.
Oh man.
But their economy also collapsed at the same time. So I guess it wasn't as funny for them.
One thing I love to do is go to a collapsing American city that's going through economic hardships and go to a nearby city and watch it fall from a telescope and just watch with binoculars and go, "Ha, this is funny to me."
Oh my God, that factory shut down.
This is great
I
humor.
can see it from over here.
I can see it right here from the comfort of my own home.
Wow. I've never been to Detroit. I want to go.
I would love to visit sometime
I want
too.
to see it. It seems crazy that it shrunk so much.
I remember it went. Did it go bankrupt when I was in high school, or was that like in university?
Probably.
It went
I don't
bankrupt
know.
like. I want to say recently, but not recently at all.
No. The great economic crisis was like 2007, 2008.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so that happened when I was in high school.
Yeah.
But also, like, at the time, I remember those headlines, but I never remember being like, uh-oh, it happened. But, like, it wasn't until, like, you know.
Yeah.
Then, like, you didn't see the effects of it right away, right?
Yeah. Oh, well, there's another great crisis in this world. Hurley's father
Hurley's
goddamn betrayed him.
Hurley's dad betrayed him for a funny buck. Wait, for no, this is, so here's how this all wraps up.
Funny cluck.
A funny
chicken
cluck.
restaurant joke.
If Hurley's mother had remarried, it would be a funny cuck.
Oh my God. You can take that to the bank.
You can. I don't recommend it, but I can't stop you.
They won't be happy. They wouldn't. You can't tell us this awful joke.
This is not legal tender.
Yeah.
If you have a $20 bill or any other legal tender, we will accept that.
Money.
Money's what we want.
We deal in
Not
money.
not your incredibly bad joke about Hurley's parents on Lost.
My God. Why is it so sexual?
And then we have to explain to them, well, you see, a funny old people horny joke.
Yeah, old people having sex is funny.
Yeah, to the show Lost, old people having sex is very funny. Anyways, so Hurley's packing for Australia. He's had enough. He's had it up to here. And Hurley's dad comes in and tries to kind of have a heart-to-heart and is like, Hugo, you were right to be suspicious of me. I'm going to lay it on the line. I came here because I saw an opportunity for an early retirement. But I'm here now to tell you. I'm here now to talk to you, to be honest with you. If you want to give up the money, I think you should. I think that's great. I just don't think that you're going to find the answers to what you're looking for in Australia. And I did what I did in the psychic shop to try to help you. And Hurley's just kind of like, understandably, like, I don't want to see you ever again.
Fuck you,
and I'm
Dad.
I'm going to Australia.
Yeah.
And that's Hurley's flashbacks.
That's the thing. And it's funny going through that. And then
Yeah.
I was thinking about like what happens in the rest of the episode. And it's like, oh, I feel like most of the action in the entire episode is like that arc.
Yeah.
It's pretty interesting. Because the other stuff, which we'll get into,
Yeah.
it's like stuff sort of happens.
Yeah.
But not that much happens.
Yeah,
too.
it's very low stakes on the island.
Yeah. So it's like, I don't know. I liked this story, though.
I didn't mind it overall.
Yeah.
But I have one
The-
I have one major criticism. Other than the how funny old people having sex is.
Is it a meteor coming from the sky?
That also is a criticism, but we've gotten into that. The big thing is Hurley's, like, I don't know how to feel about Hurley's dad, basically, is the thing of it. Because by the end of it, it kind of feels like he's being sincere, right?
Yeah.
And I don't necessarily doubt that. But but it's never established
I
why.
still don't like his dad.
It's never established why he left in the first place.
I think even if Hurley's dad has become nice now,
Yeah, and he even admits
he's done too much.
He even admits that like he wasn't nice when he came back. He admits that his
Yeah.
motives for coming back were selfish.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's like, oh well, now he's good. Now he
So-
sees his son and wants to be a dad again.
This man, he had a child,
Mm-hmm.
named him Hugo Reyes,
Mm-hmm.
and then he left. Started a movie franchise with Tommy Chong. They made a lot of money.
They made a lot of
honestly,
money.
but then it sort of grew stale after a while.
Mhm. Not as
And
profitable
then
as it once was.
He had all that money in the bank,
Mm-hmm.
but he wanted to go see his son to get more money.
Oh.
The man worships. I thought he worshipped one type of green,
Oh.
which was weed.
Yes.
But this man worships money.
Yes. Money, some might say, and this might be a little out there, but bear with me. Some might say that money is the most potent drug of all. I would never say that.
You've obviously never tried Advil.
That's true. I've never tried Advil.
You
Anytime I get a headache, I say, this is great.
Let me stick some money in my face.
Yeah, I lick $100 bill and
Yeah.
say, yes,
And
sir.
it just gets sicker. You say, yes, sirree, Bob. And people say, what are you, 62?
I say, yes, don't I look great for 62? Don't I have the... That's because I
The
keep looking at this
physique of
$100
someone
bill.
much younger, yeah.
It's because of the drug of money, you see.
The drug of money.
Mm.
Drunny.
Drunny.
The drunny mug.
The drunny mug. Hey, what happened on the island?
So Hurley and Charlie
Yes.
are having a little chat.
They're having a little chat. And Charlie is sad because he just found out that he's destined to die.
Cool.
As you do.
He's Desmond to die
He's-
because Desmond keeps seeing Charlie dying in these visions he's having.
Yes. And Charlie's bummed out about it.
Yeah.
He's feeling a little fatalistic.
Uh-huh.
A little bit like, oh, he has no control over his fate a bit,
Which is fair.
which is valid. And Hurley's also feeling a little bummed out. And he's like, man, this is probably happening because I'm cursed. He says the words, death finds me to
Yes,
Charlie.
he does.
Which is
And
great.
then what happens? A frickin' dog comes out of the woods,
The doggy comes.
and he's holding a mummified arm.
a mummified arm with a key dangling from it.
Yeah, clearly a symbol of death.
Clearly a symbol of death. And but Hurley, instead of being like, oh no, it's happening again, says, this is cool, and decides to
chases
follow.
the dog.
He chases the dog into the woods. And
Yeah,
where's the dog take him?
to a van.
A van that's tipped over and overgrown.
Yeah.
And Hurley says, wowee. Hurley runs back to the camp and says, hi, guys, guess what? Guess what? We found a car. There's a big car, and I bet it still works. If we get a couple people together, I bet we can drive it and get it started. What do you say, guys? Who's with me? This'll be fun. Let's go.
And everyone's so uninterested for no reason.
Yeah, everybody's like, whatever, dude. And Hurley's motives are purely just like he wants to have a fun
Wants to
time.
have fun,
He found
yeah.
something to distract him from
He
constant
thought
misery.
it's curious. Yeah.
Yeah. But everybody's like, everybody who else is doing nothing.
Totally. That was the thing I thought was weird because it's like they have a lot of crazy ideas in
Yeah.
this show,
Mhm.
and there's always people to do it.
Yeah.
But Hurley finds a car in the woods,
yeah.
and everyone's like, "That's not very interesting, Hurley." And it's like, "Yeah, it fucking is. We're on a weird island in
You-
the middle of
You
nowhere."
don't want to look at a car?
Yeah, the car is cool.
The car is very cool.
Even in my life right now, if someone was like, "Hey, I found this weird car in the alley. It looks like it's like 100 years old, and I have the key right here."
I'd be
I
like,
w-
yes.
Yeah,
Cool. Let's look
Yeah.
at it a little bit at least.
exactly. Let's take the 5-minute walk to the car.
Yeah. Something to do.
But here, no one who speaks English has any interest.
No. But thankfully, one person who doesn't speak English does.
Jin, our man Jin.
Jin is arrived, and he doesn't really know what he signed up for, but he comes along anyway.
He signed up for a thing.
And Hurley, I also want to just highlight that during this desperate plea, Hurley says the line, "Come on, guys, we're gonna drive it."
Yeah.
And it's like, true.
Yeah, it's a car.
I would hope so.
Yeah, you have the key.
And so they go out to the van, and they're trying to kind of push it up and push it over, and they're investigating. They find a body inside. They find a corpse. It's fitted in a Dharma jumpsuit, the kind we're familiar with,
Yeah.
belonging to one Roger. And they try to lift it out of the car,
Uh-huh.
and the corpse's head falls off,
Cute.
and it's treated like a wacky, funny head fall off a corpse.
And they just leave the head
They
there.
just leave the head there, and then they end up taking the head.
They
No.
don't.
Oh,
They
no.
do not.
You're right. You're right.
Yeah.
I'm forgetting the order of the continuity of the skull.
Uh-huh.
Um,
The skull's journey from sitting in a van to leaning beside a van.
yeah. Honestly, the strongest arc of the episode, in my
Yeah.
opinion.
My God.
So the other thing that happens.
Uh-huh. Oh, this is somewhat simultaneous, right?
yes. Kate and Sawyer, they're on their way back from being captured by the others.
Yeah.
And they arrive, and it's a classic slow motion montage of everybody being like, "Oh, Kate's back! Oh my gosh!" Everybody's been so depressed, but Kate and Sawyer are alive. Oh my gosh, they're back and they're here, and they're shaking everybody's hand and they're saying hello. Oh my goodness, gracious me! What a time for them.
And they have two different things that different priorities.
Yes. Kate says, "All right, I'm back, but Jack is still out there, and we have to go help him. He's she starts talking with Saeed immediately and Saeed and Locke immediately,
Yeah.
and saying like, all right, we know this, and that, and here's why Jack didn't come, and they had a boat when they were on the docks, and Michael got on it. And listen, you guys stay here. I'm gonna go get some help because I need to do this right now. Sawyer, meanwhile, is yelling at everybody and saying, "Where's my stuff?
Where's my stuff?
Where's my stuff?
Where's my stuff?
You took my guns, my porno, my scotch. Where's my stuff?" And Desmond goes off. Sorry, not Desmond. Sawyer eventually meets up with the van crew of Hurley and Jin. And Sawyer's just immediately like, "Hurley, where's my stuff?" And Hurley says, "Oh my God, you're alive!" and immediately hugs him.
Nice to see you, buddy.
It's a sweet moment.
Yeah.
And then Hurley fills him in. "We found this car. Help us lift it up." Sawyer helps them lift it up. And they look inside the van and they find Sawyer finds an order, a blueprint. And they're like, and he's like, "Whoa, the Dharma people were doing something.
Building a dirt road.
Building some kind of road, I guess. Well, that's weird. Look at all this beer."
There's so much beer. There's a bunch of beer in the van.
There's a whole lot of beer.
It is a beer van.
He also finds Roger's skull.
Yeah.
And
he's less happy about that.
He's
one.
less happy. And Hurley's just like, "Oh, that's just Roger. Don't worry about it."
And it's like, this is a man's head. And then,
the next,
like 2 seconds later, Sawyer is drinking a beer. With Roger's skeleton beside him. The skull is now on the body.
Propped up.
He cheers as his can on Roger's head.
And Hurley of all people, Hurley what decapitated the man, says, "You gotta respect the dead, dude. Be nice."
You were just making fun of this man's head.
Yeah, there's a lot of there's a lot of jokes in this episode. You got funny old people having sex, funny skeleton.
Funny skeleton head joke. Yeah.
Skeleton head joke is fun.
More like Felaton because his head fell off.
it fell a ton.
Yeah, and he was a fella.
By the ton.
By the ton. It fell a ton. Oh, Felaton.
Oh.
And then what happens? And then
what happens?
More car.
Jin
says, "Car, this can't be fixed."
Yeah, Jin kind of hits a roadblock with the engine and says, "This can't be fixed." And Hurley is like, "No, but we gotta fix it. We gotta have hope, guys. I'm bored, and we gotta fix it."
Yeah.
And Jin ends up, Hurley ends up recruiting Charlie at this point.
Yeah.
Hurley goes up to Charlie and slaps him in the face and says, "Quit being so fatalistic, man. We've got a car out here. We're gonna make it go. And damn it, I need a win because everything's been sucking for a while. And so help me make this car go. Let's look death in the face and say, whatever, man," is literally a line that he says. And it's a pretty good line.
Yeah,
it's probably the best line of the episode.
Whatever, man.
It's very like it does speak like I think there's almost a pathos to this episode.
Yeah.
Of like being stuck in a shitty situation and just finding something that you might be able to do and just like grinding against it just for the sake of
because you need something to do.
You just need a win.
Yeah.
Even if that win is being able to drive a shitty car that you found.
Yeah.
And there's something to that, I think.
So this is what they do.
Mm-hmm.
And then Hurley, without doing any work to the car, he's like, "You know what we need to do? We need to push it down a hill."
Yes. Before we push it down the hill, I want to highlight one more very funny joke that the show does. The show does a very funny joke here. While Charlie's off with Hurley, Sawyer and Jin are talking, and Jin's talking and Sawyer's teaching Jin English. And the English Jin has learned is the 3 following phrases. "I'm sorry. You were right. And those pants don't make you look fat." And then Sawyer says, "That's great. You've got it. The 3 things every woman loves to hear." And
wow.
Great. We love our favorite comedy show, Lost, and it's great, funny jokes.
The jokes that we got, I don't think there was what's the funniest? The only funny line they really had this episode was "Look death in the eyes and say whatever, man."
Yeah.
The jokes, both the parents' jokes they're not really funny.
Yeah, the explicit comedy jokes. The only funny thing of that is pinching Jesus' head, which is more a visual gag than anything.
And then the Sawyer teaching Jin these funny lines jokes. It's not very funny.
It's cranked, especially in the context of Kate immediately shows up and is like at it. Is immediately like, here's the plan, here's the others, let's go, let's
Uh-huh.
get him. Sawyer just goes, where's my stuff, and cracks open a beer and
Totally.
does a funny one for the fellas.
Yeah. Yeah. But then they take the car.
They take the car and they push it up to this ledge, and they're like, is this gonna work? And they say, well, there's nothing to it but to try. And so Charlie and Hurley get in the front, and Jin and Sawyer push the car, and they're like, hey, we might die doing this.
Yeah.
And they're like, and Charlie just says, victory or death,
Which is crazy.
which is big. And so they push the car and they push it down the hill, and oh my gosh, there it goes. And it's going and it's going.
flying.
It's flying. It's going so fast. It's going dangerously fast. Hurley needs to pull up the clutch to get this thing started. And oh my gosh, is he going to be able to do it? They're going right
He
to a
waits
rock.
till the last second.
James, they're going right into a rock, and time is slowing down. They're going, can they do it? Will they be able to do it?
They do it.
They do it. And immediately they are able to. They go from like barreling at 100 miles per hour to like going at a leisurely stroll and just kind of like
Totally.
swerving
Doing
around
some pretty swift maneuvers
Swerve
around rocks.
with a van that hasn't run in who knows how long.
yeah.
And they're doing some maneuvers, and everybody's like, "Whoa, they did it!" And then the next scene, also when it starts, the like 8-track in it or whatever starts playing "Road to Shambhala."
Yeah.
And so you get this montage, not a montage, but just a scene of like they like pull back around, and Sawyer and Jin run up, and they're like, "Woo!" And they get in the van, and they're just like driving around doing donuts.
Yeah, it's cool.
It's
I love
great.
that
It's
actually.
Probably the best scene I've ever
They
seen.
just drive around.
They just drive around, and they're just like
They're all happy.
they have their hands hanging out the windows, and the
Yeah.
dog is in there too.
The dog is here now.
and
yeah.
they're all like
The dog wasn't with them earlier too.
No.
The dog showed him the car and then left for the whole episode.
then shows up
they
for the
started the
joyride.
car and it like gets in the car.
It's great. The dog gets it.
The dog is more of an ideas man than like worker, you know.
Boy, I can relate.
Yeah.
I love to think about fun things to do and then not contribute to them at all.
Totally, but reap the benefits.
Yes, that's exactly right.
That's what it's all about.
It's a great scene.
Yeah, great scene.
And then the episode takes a weird move,
Uh-huh.
I think. You get like the classic 70s ish, like ooh, yeah, 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 yeah. And then it like fades into a slow montage of like just everybody back at the island and kind of like hugging the people they care about. And so got a 2-4, got a bunch of beer, and he cracks open a beer, and he's sitting at his tent, and and Kate's not there, but everybody's kind of, Charlie says hello to Claire. And this is scored with a transition from the joyriding scene to this scene.
Uh-huh.
The music fades from the track Road to Shambhala to a slow orchestral arrangement of Road to Shambhala.
Yeah.
And it is bizarre.
That's cool. I like that they went for that.
They really
It doesn't matter if it works out every time.
No.
They went for it.
They did go for it. I
Yeah.
will readily admit that they went for it. And it does not need to work for me to go,
Victory
okay.
or death.
Victory or death, says Michael Giacchino, the composer of Lost.
I thought it was J.J. Abrams that composed Lost.
He did compose it, but he had a little help from his friend, Michael.
Michael.
Mm-hmm.
Is that like Michael from Arrested Development?
Michael Bluth? No.
Michael Bublé.
Michael Bublé. I wish. Imagine if this show was scored by Michael Bublé.
That'd be
instead
so
of every
crazy.
cliffhanger being like bum bum bum, it's just him being like, hey hey hey, what's gonna happen next? Hurley's in a pickle.
Your mom loves me.
Michael Bublé shows up and performs his own cuck.
Performs his own cock. Yes. Yes. True. But
Great.
then Hurley just he hangs out in his car and drives it alone now.
Yeah, oh yeah. So like that's exactly it. The montage ends with Hurley just sitting in the car, driving around. And we're so like what happened there? So like they
all just left.
They finished joyriding, and they were like, all right, we got to go to bed and back to the car, back to our camp to hang out a bit, to go to bed and stuff. And Hurley's just like, no, here's where I live now.
I'm sitting in the car.
I really was hoping that the scene would just end with him like driving off and away.
Totally, and you never see Hurley again.
Oh, imagine.
Then we get one more brief scene, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
We get Kate going into the woods, Then turns out Kate's being followed by Locke and Saeed.
Uh-huh.
And they're like, we can help you get to where you're going. And Kate's like, well, listen, I got one more person in mind to help us. And bam, 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 they get shot at by, guess who?
Rousseau.
Rousseau. This is how the crew gets assembled for Enter 77.
Yeah.
And Kate's like, hey, I found your daughter at the others' camp. And Daniel's like, whoa, let's go, baby.
Let's go, baby.
Let's
Go find Eye Patch Man.
Let's find my daughter.
Yeah, fuck yeah. Love that girl.
Love my daughter. Miss her.
Miss her.
go get her.
Been years.
It's been so long. Let's get her.
Yeah.
It's
It was good. It was a fine episode.
It was a perfectly fine episode.
I like Hurley enough to forgive all the cranked ass shit.
There is a lot of cranked ass shit, but Hurley really carries a lot of this episode's pretty glaring missteps.
Yeah.
The scene at the end is like enough of a salve that I'm like, oh, they're having fun. They're having fun. And in general, like them just like having fun and fucking around with the car is like nice
It's
to
fun.
see.
It's funny.
It's fun.
Yeah.
And even like the stuff in the flashbacks, like the meteor stuff, I don't like at all. It's nonsense. But all the stuff where like Hurley's dad is there, even though I do have problems with it, is still mostly just kind of like fun and harmless enough that
and it's
really
just like it drives story forward in some sort of way.
Exactly.
In some small way. It's funny. This is a good example of like the type of TV episode that doesn't exist anymore because we don't do like 24 episode seasons anymore.
Yes.
Where it's like you don't have the episode where essentially all that happens is a little bit of backstory and they find a car.
Yes. Like you don't have like this is definitely like make no mistake.
It's not monumental whatsoever.
No, it's definitely what you might call a filler episode, but it's still like fun enough that I like to see it. I'm wondering like this being such a filler episode, I'm curious if this has any questions or answers to it.
It might have raised 1 to 3 questions, I would guess.
I think it's me reading him this time.
Yeah.
So I will get that going. And
I'll
here we go.
go to random.org in the meantime.
Yes, please do.
Which is a random number generator.
A random number generator? No way.
Free. I don't pay to use it.
If you pay to use random number generator, you have been scammed, my friend.
Yeah, I don't.
I would advise you to get your money back. All right, so 3, 10. There's exactly one question. It's a bit of I don't want to say spoiler, but it's something you haven't seen yet.
Okay. Let's go for it.
You want to go for it?
Yeah, because does it spoil anything? Like, it couldn't spoil anything very far into the future.
You've already seen
I've seen the first 3 seasons.
So then then you know this.
I'm a long time ago.
Okay. Then I'm wondering if you know how Roger Workman died.
Oh. No.
You don't?
I don't.
Okay, because this answer is a handful and really shed some funny context onto his skeleton comedies this episode.
Scomedy.
He was gassed to death by his son, Ben, during the purge.
Oh. So Roger is Ben's dad.
Yes.
Oh, that's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
That's just interesting enough.
That's exactly the kind of, like, planting a seed and then paying it off that Lost does well.
Totally.
Where it's like when you see Roger Workman, you're not like, oh, who's this guy? But then later when you see Roger Workman, when you learn who Roger Workman is, it's not like you're like, oh, it all makes sense. You're just kind of like, oh, that's neat. That's a neat little thing.
Totally. Exactly. You're like, oh, it's cool. They like had their finger on the pulse the whole time.
Exactly.
Which, I mean, maybe 1 in 10 times you actually get that.
Exactly. And this is one of the handful.
All right, cool. Well, I went to random.org, put in 1 to 60, which is our criteria.
Mm-hmm.
And I got 32.
32. Well, I suppose I should look at the list of episodes and instead of putting away my phone.
See what the number 32 correlates to.
What does number 32 correlate to?
Well, I have a feeling we might have watched 32 already, but maybe not.
In fact, we have not.
Oh.
Episode 32 is the finale, the final hour of Season 3, Through the Looking Glass Part 2. We watched Through the Looking Glass Part 1 all the way back in podcast episode 33.
Wow.
It has been a solid nearly 50.
Wow, it's been a year.
Nearly 50 episodes. Definitely a year since we saw the first part of this episode.
Oh my God.
So
cool.
I'm sure it'll make a lot of sense and be good.
I'm fine that we will finally get some closure because
Well,
I've been wondering what happens.
The whole time I've been thinking out loud, what the heck happens in the last half of that finale?
Qu'est-ce qui s'arrive ici?
Qu'est-ce que c'est ça? C'est quoi ça?
Fucké.
Voyons donc.
Cool.
Great.
Thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening to our silly little show. I've been Bean. You can find me on Twitter at Barrier Trio.
I've been James. I am at James Brown.
You can find the show at facebook.com/The Island Shuffle or twitter.com/Island Shuffle. You can also check out noisepace.xyz, which is full of many wonderful podcasts.
Great podcast.
I want to shout out Fear Baiting and the Wonder Years, which are two relatively new additions that are, they're not that new. They've been on for like a few months now, but I keep forgetting to shout them out because they're very good to listen to.
Splendid.
One of them is a queer horror movie podcast, and the other one is an Animorphs reread podcast.
Yes.
They're both very good to hear.
There hasn't been enough Animorphs content.
No, there hasn't been. And here come the Wonder Years to satisfy that need.
My God.
Those books are actually quite horrifying, turns out.
I only know the covers, and that was enough for me.
Yeah, that etches into your mind right there and there. A real slice of the year 2000 exactly.
Totally. Computer generated imagery.
Oh, give me if that imagery isn't computer generated, get it out of my
Get
sight.
it out. What are you doing, Van Gogh?
What are you doing? Paint on a canvas? It's all about logging on with a keyboard and a mouse, baby.
Yeah, welcome to the future.
Welcome to cyberspace.
You don't like it.
And if you don't like it, well, then you can listen to what we say at the end of every episode, which is, of course,